Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host. And today's episode is episode number 16 of season 2. And we are talking about May Your Cup Runneth Over. Yes, may your cup flow over. And how is your cup gonna flow over? By you filling your own cup. Because only you can fill your cup. Nobody else can fill your cup. Only you can fill your cup. And so this is what we will dive in detail today. But just a quick little note for you up front. This is not going to be superficial. This is not going to be about, self-care and getting a mani-pedi and a massage because you need to feel pampered. This is not girly resurrection. This is goddess resurrection. And this is about your inner connection and strength building that is going to keep your cup full and runneth over, spilling over at all times. Good. So, but before we dive in, hello, my gorgeous sisters. I hope you are well. I hope you're breathing and feeling and you're allowing yourself to be in this magical, wonderful flow of your feminine energy, which of course is your light, which of course is your portal for all of your divine knowledge and guidance and vision. Right? It is all through the feminine energy that is the connection to spirit, to dimension travel, to the divine of the highest light. And as always, as the breath is the connector, as the breath is the doorway, as the breath is your most important practice, I invite you to start breathing with me and focus onto the breath. Nice, deep, slow, conscious in and exhales. And remember to keep your eyes open if possible, because remember, we want to build it in, right? We want to integrate. We want to bring it all into alignment so that you can be present to life, to the doings, to the conversations, to the people, to the things, while you're staying connected to yourself, while you're staying connected to your feminine energy through the use of your breath. Remember, that is the ultimate goal. Good. Okay, good. So from here, let's dive in. Now, let me come back to the skin deep of self-care. Obviously, self-care is important. Every goddess practices self-care naturally, intuitively. That shouldn't even be a subject anymore at this point. Yes, you know when you want a bath. You know when you need a moment away. You know when you want to feel, very feminine, and you go get your nails done and you go get that massage, or you put the dress on, or you do your hair, you do your makeup. These things are already known. These things are already a part of your repertoire. You know what you need externally, skin deep, right? To just give you a little bit of a boost. And so when we talk about filling your own cup first, when we are saying, may your cup always run over, it is the only way to live. It is the way of the new earth. It is the way of the goddess. And this never means, and this is very important, this never means you're being selfish. It never means that you are not caring about other people. It never means that you don't help, or you don't reach out, or you don't, extend yourself. It never means any of that. So oftentimes this concept of putting self first still brings up a lot of old patterning that judges it as selfishness, especially for women, especially for goddesses. Men are very naturally selfish, right? It's what they're born with. Women, we have been conditioned for millennia to give, to serve, to provide, to nurture, right? We have been trained to be in that overgiving, overextending, which depletes us, right? It's the emptying of our cup and it's not getting filled up. So this has been, the problem all this time. And because we've been conditioned with this old judgment that, we cannot be selfish, we have to serve, and otherwise we feel guilty, or a bad mom, or a bad partner, or a bad friend. And so this, of course, as it comes up, needs to be dealt with. It needs to be addressed. You must pay attention to when and where and how these resistances to you filling your cup, so you can be that cup that runs over all the time, which means you have to put yourself first, which means you need to totally pivot. You need to completely do a 180 and learn to focus to yourself, to check in with yourself, to stay connected with yourself first and foremost. And so this is, of course, the greatest, biggest pivot to the shift from the masculine energy, which had you focusing externally, focusing on others, making sure they're okay, pleasing them, serving them, helping them, tending to them, scheduling, doing, going, always thinking of everybody else but yourself. That's the old energy of the masculine energy conditioning. And even though women were conditioned in that had nothing to do with the feminine energy. Remember that this is the conditioning that's within the masculine energy, and it is projected onto the woman and therefore mistaken for it being the feminine energy. It is never the feminine energy. The feminine energy cannot be conditioned. Quickly, as a side note, to remind you, the feminine energy is never wounded. There are so many voices out there that are talking about healing the feminine. The feminine has never been wounded. What we do need to do is heal the conditioning and the patterning which has been blocking or judging or skewing or overshadowing the feminine energy. The feminine energy is always there. Always. She is your light. The feminine energy is your light. It is your true self. And so the feminine energy is always there in the background. It's your soul. It's your essence. It's your light waiting for you to wake up, waiting for you to turn inward, waiting for you to connect and stay connected, waiting for you to listen to yourself, waiting for you to feel yourself and to honor yourself, waiting for you to remember and reconnect with your inner voice and guidance and strength and worth and joy and freedom. That's your feminine energy. She's always there. She's never been wounded, because light cannot get wounded. Light doesn't take anything personal. Light sees everything from its highest perspective. It is the earthly conditioning, the masculine energy and the ego that has created that false perception. But herein already lies the answer of everything that we are addressing here today. You have to know that the more that you slow down and the more that you remember your breath, and I hope you're breathing right now, and the more that you get out of your head and feel into your body and breathe into your body and move your body and rest your body if it's asking you to do that. Trust your intuition, follow that guidance, that deep knowing, that wisdom. This has to deepen now, this practice of you really trusting yourself, right? And so that is all you reconnecting with your feminine energy. The wounding is when you hear the doubts, right? When the doubting voice comes in. Oh, you're just making it up. That's not the feminine energy being wounded. That's the masculine conditioning, right? Wounding can only happen within the masculine energy. It is the trauma and the wounding that we have received by women, from sisters, from mothers, that has caused pain and a sense of betrayal and lack of trust, yes. But just because they were women doesn't mean it has anything to do with the feminine energy. Because the feminine energy is the light. And so from the light, when we're choosing from our light, it is always for the highest and greatest good for all involved. What is to my highest and greatest good will naturally also be to your highest and greatest good. But that's another podcast. That's yet another episode. So let's come back to that. Yes, your masculine energy is going to try to fight this 180-degree pivot. Your masculine energy is going to judge it, it's going to make you feel guilty, it's going to call on the old belief systems of the old paradigm, which tell you it is selfish of you to put yourself first. It is selfish of you to trust this inner intuition, this feeling guidance, and for that to be what you want to do. Yes, so this is when you need to, of course, pay very close attention to when these voices come up so that you do not believe them, so that you do not take them on, but instead you say, thank you for sharing, but no thank you. I am in my feminine energy, I am in my flow, I am in my joy. And if you're not fully in it, make sure you practice reconnecting more and more deeply. But this is really the main key to pivot, to focus internally, to pivot, to put your own oxygen mask on first. Don't worry about others. Align yourself first. Don't worry about them. Align yourself first. You must get into the habit of being in your own center, in your own alignment, in your own connection before you make any choice, before you have any conversation, before you follow through on any guidance, right? Any idea. You always now from here on out have to put yourself first, which means putting yourself first means you are in your connection. You are in your inner self-awareness, right? You're focused internally. You notice how things make you feel. You notice when something feels right or wrong, when something feels this is good, this is not, when something feels like this is, feeling good to me or this is not feeling good, right? That's the simplicity that you begin with. And then from here, once you have recognized what feels good to you, right? And you recognize what didn't make you feel good about what the person said or did, right? Now you have the responsibility to yourself to protect yourself, to protect your worth, your respect for self, your self-love, your space, your values, your boundaries, right? It is now up to you to respect and care and protect yourself, your light, your values, your beliefs, your what matters to you and what feels right and good to you and what doesn't. And so maybe it's a conversation that you will have to bring that up, and you're not trying to change their mind. You're just stating very clearly what works for you and what doesn't. What feels good to you and what doesn't. What you are willing to do and what you won't do. Right? It's very simple. You keep it very simple. Don't try to change their mind. You just state what feels right for you and what doesn't. Right? Where your boundaries are and where they're not. Make sure you always keep your standards high and you express your standards so that the other person then can either accept and respect them or walk away. And then you walk away, right? That's how simple it is, but that's how unattached we must be. And again, when we are in our feminine energy, we are that free, that unattached, that clear, that connected to our empowerment, to our worth, to our joy and sense of freedom. And that means you don't need anybody or anything, but everything will come to you that is matching your vibration, that is matching your sense of worth, right? That's how this universe works. However, I do want to say that there's also a lot of talk about, taking the path of least resistance. And so be careful with that, because taking the path of least resistance does not mean you stay quiet, just not to rock the boat, or you bite your tongue just to keep the peace, right? It doesn't mean you hide or suppress what you're feeling, right? Because you're afraid to show that or voice that. If you're in a relationship of any kind where you are afraid of voicing what it is that you feel or what it is that you need, you're not in the right relationship. That's a bad relationship for you, right? Don't be afraid. If you're afraid, walk away. Goddesses never stay in those kinds of relationships. And so I know that sometimes it can feel entangled, but there is always a way out. There's always a way out. Always. When in the light, there is always a way out. So taking the path of least resistance is important for me to mention, because there are, again, a lot of voices out there that are saying, the path of least resistance is the way to manifest. And it's where we come back to the two sides of the coin. When we are in our own self, this is when we look for the path of least resistance. And again, it's the inward, it's the inner connection that will show us that, right? That will show you that. You feel when something in you feels good and right and easy, right? When you feel that easy feeling, when you feel good and peaceful about something, that's your path of least resistance. When something within you feels anxious and nervous and scared, right? Or angry or reactive in any way, that's not the path you want to go down, right? So when it comes to yourself, definitely always look for the easeful feeling, that peaceful feeling, the what feels right and what feels good. And so when it comes to interacting with the world, taking the path of least resistance is yet a whole nother ball game, because now you need to again look within, connect to yourself first, always, always, always check in with yourself. How does it feel here, right? So just because there's something that you need to express, doesn't mean you're going to just blurt it out, right? It doesn't mean you're just going to, come from a knee-jerk reaction. You will communicate what it is that you need. You will communicate your boundaries. You will communicate your values, your standards, what feels good for you and what doesn't, and what works for you and what doesn't. You will communicate that, but make sure you always communicate it from a place of ease, from your feminine energy connection, from your inner self-guidance. That is the place from which you communicate and express everything from here on out, right? And so here we want to come back to so your inner connection, right? Your guidance, your intuition, your wisdom, right? Your body communication. Your body will tell you what it wants and needs. Let's say your friend wants to go out, but your body is just screaming for rest. In order for you to stay full in your cup, you got to listen to your body. Or if you kind of want to go out, then you promise your body, but tomorrow we'll rest. I promise you, I'll give you that. We'll rest tomorrow, right? So be in relationship, be in communication with your body. If your intuition says no, do never negotiate your intuition. When your intuition says no, when your inner wisdom and guidance says no, it's no. Do not negotiate this inner guidance, this inner wisdom. Things generally go bad or wrong when we ignore this inner knowing of our soul, of our true self, right? And one more thing that I want to share in regard to when we turn inward, right? And we want to do this all the time now. This means you're checking in with how you're feeling. So how you feel has to matter to you. Don't put that on other people. Surely you want to be in relationships where you have partners or friends or colleagues or, people in your life that care about how you feel. Right? But don't expect them to know, and don't expect them to always put your feelings first. This is your job. This is how you fill your own cup. By you always, always, always tending to yourself first. How you feel has to matter to you. Don't get disappointed if other people don't care as much about how you feel. Right? It's your responsibility. It's your job. If you have somebody who always, wants to know that you're feeling good, that's, yet again, another subject. It's beautiful, to be caring and nurturing with each other, but you and only you are responsible to fill your own cup. You and only you are responsible for how you feel. And so again, there are two aspects here. When you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling emotionally flooded, when you're feeling activated, when you recognize wounding, this is of course has to matter to you that you're feeling strong emotion. And this is, of course, as you remember, also a sign for that. This is purging, this is healing opportunity. Never communicate, if possible, from this place. But this is also filling your cup because you're tending to your healing, because you're tending to your purging, because you're tending to your emotional clarity. Yes? So if you're emotionally flooded, if you are, recognizing ego or fear or patterning coming up, this is what you tend to as well. even though it may not be your favorite kind of tending, this, deeper healing or deeper purging. Just, claim that, choose that, own that, breathe into it, breathe through it, and let it clear and be with yourself. And this will also fill your cup because you're tending to your healing, right? You don't want to come from this place of victim or pity party or, screaming match. That will empty your cup. You tending to yourself, putting yourself first, that will fill your cup, right? So following this guidance when it's clear, right? Don't mistake the temper tantrum, the fear, the wounding, the flooding for your guidance. It's not your guidance. It's just old patterning, old wounding, old energy. Your intuition, your guidance, your knowing is always calm. It's always centered. It's always grounded. You will always feel very clear when you are in the depth of your guidance. And that's what goes. That's what you follow. That's what you communicate. That's what you live by. And this is also the way that you guide your children. This is the way that you parent, right? It's from this inner place of authority, from this inner place of clarity, from this inner place of peace, right? From this place you speak, from this place you teach, from this place you joke, from this place you live. Yeah, and so the more that you're trusting yourself, the more your children will also learn to trust themselves, because they will also know and learn the difference, because children only learn by example, not by what you tell them. They learn by what you do, right? And then, of course, what fills your cup is, and what empties your cup, more to say, is when you're overgiving, right? When you're overdoing. It's again the external focus. What do I need to do for others? What do I do for them to be happy? Monitoring and, managing other people's emotions and expectations, right? So to always overdo and overgive and overschedule, that will surely empty your cup. And so this is where it's a fine line. It's again the two sides of the coin. You have to be aware of yourself, again, connecting into yourself first, again, right? Focusing into yourself, listening to yourself first. And, feeling, is this something I feel like doing right now? Is this something that I want to do right now? Does this feel good to me right now? Is this to my highest and greatest good right now in this moment? Is this really what I want to choose? If you're feeling no, say no. Say no. No now. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow, but not now. Now I need to rest. Now I need to take a moment with myself. Now I need to take a bath. Now I need to, get something else done. Of course, you're still going to give. Of course, you're still going to do, right? Of course. But it is more from a place of inner authority. It is more from a place of inner guidance and feel good and feel rightness versus just giving, doing, right? So check in with yourself. Again, do I want to do this? Is this really my job? Is this really my responsibility? Right? So you will catch yourself here. You will catch yourself as you're noticing how much you're thinking about others. And what are they thinking? And what are they doing? And how are they going to react? And how are they going to think about this? And then how are they going to respond to this? Right? So catch all that too. And just let that go. Just let that go and focus right back onto yourself. Focus right back into your inner guidance. And how am I feeling? How did that thinking just make me feel? Then process through that. Breathe through that. Lean back. Do less. And really find this practice within yourself to focus on yourself, because this will always keep your cup overflowing. And when you're overflowing, everybody is gonna benefit. When you're overflowing, remember, you will hold up thousands, millions of others just by you being in your light, just by you being in your center, just by you being that overflowing fountain of authenticity. You being in your authenticity at all times will keep your cup full. And there's this beautiful old saying that when mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. And when mom is happy, everybody's happy. And that's the truth. But of course, again, remember, you have to know when you're in trigger and when you're in your clarity, right? That's a huge distinction. We're not here to promote tantrums. We're here to promote your light embodiment. And the more you trust it and the more you follow it and the more you go with it and live from it, the stronger you will grow in your light. The higher your light vibration will rise. And the more your cup will flow over, spilling over out into the world in a magical, magical way. So do less, lean back, check in with yourself first for anybody and anything. And catch your thoughts when they're focusing externally and come back to yourself. Use the breath and focus on yourself, how you are feeling, what your mission is, what your next thing to do is, what you're going to do to rest or pamper yourself. And now you can go get that mani-pedi. Mwah, 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 my sweet sisters. I thank you for your energy, your time, your presence here on this channel. And as always, I am sending love and light blessings to you and yours. Deep hugs and kisses. Mwah. Ciao for now.